What's happening, everyone? My name is Akeem Henry. Welcome to the Mission of Medicine podcast.
Right.
Today we have
Ready?
another 3, 2, 1, action.
To the non-traditional students, be adaptable, be willing to accept new strategies and the idea that maybe the way that you're doing things could be better, and that there's other resources and there's people out there that can help you on this journey, that you don't have to do it yourself. So reach out there and ask for advice and look for help from a lot of these people are going to be younger than you, and that's okay.
Yeah. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Mission of Medicine. Today we have another amazing interview for you all. Today I have a special guest. His name is student Dr. Shay Cope, and I want to introduce him. He's my classmate.
How's it going? I'm Shay. Glad to be here.
Shay, just give him a little background information about where you're from, what school you attended, and then what age did you start medical school?
So I am 30 years old, or 31 now, but I was 30 when I first started med school. I had originally graduated from Dalton State College in Georgia, with an English degree of all things.
Oh, wow.
So not even in a science background or anything like that.
Yeah.
And that was actually in 2016 that I graduated at Dalton State. In 2019, I would actually come back to Austin Peay State University over in Clarksville, Tennessee. And that's where I'd actually get all my prerequisite courses for med school and everything like that. So.
Okay. Was that a post-bac, or was it just you created your own?
It was like a do-it-yourself post-bac, where I was very upfront with all my advisors and like, I have no intention of getting a second bachelor's degree or a master's degree, anything like that. I got all the permits I needed to take all the individual classes for med school that were required, as well as a few other that I just thought would be helpful for me.
Okay.
So,
did you have any careers or career that you were in before medical school?
Yeah, sure. So the reason why I had gotten that English degree in the first place was because that was something that just came easy to me. And I just thought I might be going into business or something like that. And a lot of the times it's really just the fact that you have an education that's important.
Yeah.
So I was actually a district manager for a franchise 500 company. Here in the U.S., a lot of that, like I said, is just you have an education, you're a hard worker, you're not making a bunch of dumb mistakes. And so I was actually able to move up the corporate ladder to some extent before I was able to come to med school.
Okay. So then what kind of led you to motivate you to leave the corporate space to enter med school? Because it sounds like you were making some money in corporate America there.
Things were pretty good. You know, I had the company car, credit card, and everything like that. But it wasn't something that really fulfilled me, or really, I couldn't see myself being there for the next 30 years plus, you know. I was in my late 20s. I was still thinking, what do I want to be when I grow up? And I feel like I hadn't found that yet. So I did have an interest in medicine. My dad is a pharmacist, so I've always had, hey, there's something interesting here. I just didn't know where I would really fit into that. One day I met this young lady with breast cancer.
Okay.
I was doing a lot of reading and I was trying to learn as much as I could, and yet whenever this girl told me about her breast cancer diagnosis at 28 years old, I had no idea what that was about. I didn't know the difference between a vasectomy and a mastectomy or anything like that. So, you know, I was just there for her in the way that I could. You know, I gave her a hug and I tried to console her and things like that, but I was completely lost. I feel like all this learning that I've been trying to do and everything, it didn't really count for anything. I ended up buying a book, The Emperor of All Maladies.
Okay.
It's a book on the history of breast cancer, where we're at today and everything like that with it. And I was just fascinated, honestly, the way that they painted the story of these physicians being like pioneers in the field of oncology and things like that. It was incredibly interesting to me. At the time, I didn't really know if I'd be able to turn that into anything. Could I ever be a doctor or anything like that?
Yeah.
But that's definitely where the spark first was lit, I said.
When you met that young patient there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the advancements in technology and the plethora of resources that are out there, what resources and what strategies did you use to study for the MCAT?
So mine, as a non-traditional student, you kind of have to figure things out on your own a lot. And hopefully you have someone else who is a traditional student who can like help you out and be like, no, that's not how people do things. But I kind of just like, I went through the 7-book Kaplan series, which in med school now, I'm like, there's no way I could do a 7-book series to try to learn something like that, right? But I did the whole 7-book series of Kaplan. I bought UWorld. I bought all the diagnostic tests, the ones that they had available. I made sure that I go through every single one of those as much as I could, and just work through all the practice questions. But between UWorld and those practice exams, I feel like that is the way to go.
Okay, so. Definitely, because it gives you that active recall element as well with the questions.
It's the only way to do it, really, because if you have all these bits of information that you're memorizing, what does that mean to you if you don't know what it looks like in the practice questions, or more importantly in real life with a clinical scenario or something?
Right.
So,
and then on the flip side, in medical school, we just wrapped up our first year of medical school. What resources were you utilizing throughout this year to be successful?
Honestly, the biggest thing for me has been trying to find out what works, what doesn't. I like to think that I'm a pretty malleable person, and I think you need to be someone who can be adaptive in med school when it comes to your learning resources and things like that. So I have tried so many things, but Boards and Beyond, UWorld, AMBOSS, pretty much anyone who has a question bank, those have been the ones that have gotten me through med school so far, and I've done pretty well for myself. It all comes down to those practice questions. So there's no 7-book series that I've been going through, nothing like that. Melman, Quick Sheets, the Dirty Medicine on YouTube has been a lifesaver for me. But at the end of the day, it all comes back to those question banks, to tell you the truth.
How do you use those question banks? Like, what's your process of going through the questions and explanations and everything like that?
Okay, yeah. So I might start with something like USMLE RX. I don't use their RX bricks or anything like that, but for their questions, I'm looking for what content do I know, what don't I know. If I miss something, every single time without fail, I will write down why I missed it and why the right answer is the one that is. If I get the right answer, but it was a total guess, then I write that down too, because at the end of the day,
being honest with yourself,
it's all about, well, it's not about the fact that you got a passing score on this practice test, right? It's whether or not you actually hold some information from it. And so I might start something like that. Boards and Beyond also has practice questions associated with every single topic and video that they have. So that's another really good one, because if I feel pretty good about a specific topic, I'll take those questions, and that'll really tell me whether or not I know the content. And if I don't, then I just have to watch that video. Right?
Yeah.
So Boards and Beyond is something I like to use kind of on the back end in that way. If it's something I'm completely new to, I might watch the videos first, but I really do like to tackle it from the practice questions first, honestly.
We know that in med school, time is very demanding. As you just stated, like, you're processing a lot. Like, it's a lot to go through all those questions, to study, to watch the videos. And, we have lives outside of medicine. So do you think dating or being married in medical school is manageable?
Well, I guess it depends on how high of a standard manageable is for you.
Okay.
How would you define the manageable is something that needs to be set between you and your partner. If I'm completely honest with you, I think it's something that can be done, but is going to be really tough. I can only speak for my one instance, but my spouse is, she's a high school history teacher. So there's like virtually no overlap between what we do. While I'm in school, she's teaching at school. And so there's a lot of time that we're not going to be able to see each other. There's not a whole lot of overlap in our understandings of what we're doing. I don't know what it's like to be a high school history teacher. She doesn't know what it's like to be a medical student. So I've seen that question get pushed around in a couple different ways, because maybe you have somebody who is also in the healthcare field, and maybe they can understand where we're coming from a little bit. But man, it's definitely tough. It definitely is tough, but possible, I think.
Definitely possible. It seems like with communication, management, and just like clear expectations and boundaries set, I guess it could work out.
Yeah, if you can't find an understanding in the terms of, hey, I've had this experience, because she's never been to med school and I've never been a teacher, then you've got to find that common understanding someplace else, and maybe it is good to be able to compartmentalize and have somebody who isn't in your same shoes, that when you come home, it's something completely different. But, you just got to make it work one way or another, and it's never going to be easy.
Mm-hmm. Shay, do you have kids?
I do have one daughter,
okay.
Harper Eloise.
Mm-hmm.
She's actually turning 2 next month.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So how can one manage medical school while being an active parent at the same time?
There's going to be a lot of give and take between you, your spouse, and your family. Mm-hmm. We've had to rely so much on our family to help take care of her. But as far as the question of being an active parent, mm-hmm. It's just being very intentional whenever you can. The truth is that I don't have as much time with Harper as I wish that I did. But when I am in the same room with Harper, I try to give her 100% of my time. I'm trying to give her as much of myself as I can, just because I know I'm not always going to be able to.
Yeah.
So it's all about intention and doing your best and trying to not hold on too much to what you can't be accountable for,
Respect. That makes sense. So with the process of medical school, like I said before, it's hard. We all know it's difficult. There's challenging moments throughout the process of learning. During instances of struggle or challenges throughout this year, what allowed you to persevere? What was that why?
Honestly, I'm very intrinsically motivated. And I think we're all going to have these thoughts of, I don't know if I'm cut from the same cloth as this other person, mm-hmm. or, oh, this person did so well and I didn't do so well, or oh, I did do well this time, but it was probably just a fluke, We're all going to have those thoughts, and you got to just be, real with yourself and be like, what, everybody's thinking this at some point. All right. It sucks right now, but you just got to keep moving forward. I absolutely could not bring myself to quit and then to tell Harper when she grows up that I tried my best, and I just decided I couldn't take it, and if you can't, I get that, but I just feel that I have it in me, and I really want to succeed for her so that she knows that she can do everything too.
Yeah. That's awesome. If Harper grows up one day saying that she wants to be a doctor, would you support her?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But I think I would just as likely support her if she was a lawyer or an astronaut or mm-hmm. a president mm-hmm. or an artist or literally anything she wants to set her mind to. I would support her all the same, because I want her to go after something that she loves and enjoys. And there's so much more than title and status and money and all these things like that,
100%.
Yeah.
Was there any challenging aspect for you with gaining admissions to medical school? Taking the non-traditional route?
Specifically speaking, as a non-traditional student, yeah. Mm-hmm. I think that there's definitely some hurdles. I think I had the double whammy because I was also not a science major as well. Mm-hmm. So I feel that as a non-traditional student, and also speaking to other non-traditional students, we have to figure out things ourselves a lot. It's, by definition, it's a non-traditional path. So we kind of have to make it ourselves. You go talk to your advisor, and they're a chemistry teacher. They're probably amazing at what they do, but if they didn't go to med school, then, they all their understanding of how the process works is based on, they've seen other kids do this and things like that. No matter what, you were going to have to figure things out on your own. I was lucky that I was able to find some other pre-med students who were on the traditional route to kind of put me in the right direction, things like that. Just figuring out which classes to take and things like that. And then here I am trying to take an MCAT, and most of that test is science related, right? Now the cars, because I have an English degree, that felt good when everyone's like, cars was my worst section. Yeah. And I'm like, I feel like I got it, and I did well on that. Mm-hmm. But then, literally every other science aspect of the test, which is the rest of the test, pretty tough. I had to really work on that and basically build that entire understanding. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like there's just a whole lot of do-it-yourself that you have to do as a non-traditional student. Yeah.
Okay. Was there any resources online that you went to as well to guide you through the process?
Yeah, Reddit and YouTube are basically everything.
YouTube University.
Yeah, YouTube University. You can find out just about anything about the med school process there. You will have to sort through a little bit, right? Because you don't know what's legit or someone's trying to sell you something. On YouTube. On Reddit, there's like a non-traditional student every like hour asking what to do. So, that's really helpful because there's a lot of people who are willing to answer those questions. So I definitely jumped on there, was asking tons of questions on Reddit. Hey, do I need to do this? What's the best resource to look at this?
Right.
And then I wanted to do the same thing. And so people, like, to this day, it was only like a week or two ago, someone was literally asking me, like, hey, I had the same stats as you. I'm a non-traditional student. Can you read my personal statement? And that was just the other day. So definitely Reddit and YouTube for sure.
To someone who's on the fence about like the Reddits and the student doctor networks, what would you have to say about that? Because, sometimes there's a lot of nonsense on these forums and things. So how do you kind of tune that stuff out and get the substance?
Maybe it is nice. Maybe if there's anything nice about being a non-trad student is that you realize like everybody's like trying to fake it. Everyone wants everyone to know that they've got it going on and they're not scared and everything's fine and they got it figured out. But that's not the case. All right. And so you got to take everything with a grain of salt. So the people on Reddit are going to say that over there on Student Doctor Network, they're all inflating their numbers. There's like a survivorship bias kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
You only see people with 521 MCATs posting on there and they're like, is this good enough? Whatever. But they do the same exact thing on Reddit too. There's plenty of people who are getting into med schools with low 500s. And actually I had a friend, she got into med school with a 498. You can totally make it work. Those people just tend to not post on there. So take it with a grain of salt. Take the good that you can, the advice that seems legitimate and possible, and just run with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Did you have any doubts about returning back to student life after taking some time off?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a double whammy because I was coming back, in my late 20s to even start like those prerequisite courses. And then also I didn't have a science background. Yeah. So I had to kind of see, if this is something that was possible for me. I talked to a lot of people in the healthcare space, wanted to get like a realistic understanding of that. Is this something that was really possible for me? I was so like emboldened with this like passion for medicine, yet I also was questioning whether or not if that was something I could do. So at the end of the day, I got some encouragement from my dad too, because like I said, he's a pharmacist, but he didn't go back to school. Like he didn't even have his GED when he first went back at 34 years old.
Okay.
So he had to get his GED, do his undergrad, do pharmacy school, all starting back at 34.
So I'm sure he had a lot of advice to tell you to move.
He was basically telling me, he's like, hey, look, if I could do that several years later than you're starting now, then you can do it now. You can start this journey in your late 20s,
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just really seeing what was possible. I feel like that's a main barrier for people, is they don't know what they actually can do, what is physically possible, and what people have done anyway.
You're right.
If I could go back and tell myself something then, I would say that, did you know that English majors have some of the highest acceptance rates into med school? Yeah, you've got like thousands of people who are biology majors, so a small proportion of those are going to be making it in.
Yeah.
But how many people are actually applying with English degrees? And so, upwards of 25% of people who are applying with an English degree are actually getting accepted. I mean, it's pretty darn good.
I mean, it's a misconception. A lot of people think they have to major in biology alone to just get to med school, and it's like that's not the case. You can
Absolutely. You honestly could get there with just about anything as long as you have, a good head on your shoulders, obviously. But then you hit those prereqs and you have a decent interview, you should be fine.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Okay. Since starting medical school, have there been any observations or revelations in your mind about school, like some standout moments, some aha moments?
I would say that for me, the most important quality that anybody can have to be successful here is adaptability. If you can stay humble and recognize that maybe the way that you did things in your undergrad, it might have worked really well for you. It worked for me.
Yeah.
in undergrad. But here in med school, like maybe you need to change things, and maybe doubling down on what you're doing now isn't the actual solution. Maybe working more hours doing the same things isn't going to help you, you know? And so what I found is the people who are willing to be humble enough to try something new. As a non-traditional student, that can be really hard, right? Because you have life experience and you have your all of these things telling you like your ways of doing things have gotten you this far. Let's just keep doing them, right? That's the tried and true. But so that can be really hard for non-traditionals to accept, hey, here's somebody who's younger than me, who's who's very successful in their class. Maybe I just need to work harder, and maybe I need to put 2 more extra hours in. But that's not going to work. And you're just going to burn out even faster. Yeah. Just accept that the ones who adapt are the ones that are going to be the most successful.
Okay. Okay. You know, with you saying being adaptable, being flexible in this type of like stressful environment, burnout's real, and you know it's really easy to just get tired and don't feel like you have the strength to go on. So what activities do you partake in to kind of de-stress to avoid the burnout in medicine?
Honestly, the things that have been the most relieving to me is literally just being outside. So I love to run. I wish I could run more. I was doing a lot more. I was doing like half marathons and things like that before med school. Okay. And I haven't been able to do a half marathon while I've been at med school, but I've gotten to do a couple little hikes here and there. I've gotten to go on walks outside with my daughter. The little things like that, they take up, an hour here, an hour there. They actually make the most difference for me, honestly. Being inside is kind of the worst. I find myself like finding any study space that is near a window so I can at least see outside. But man, just being outside and then telling yourself, I'll worry about this school stuff later, helps me to recoup so much faster. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Do you have any particular advice directly to non-traditional students who aspire a career in medicine?
Yeah, I would honestly say to the non-traditional students that be adaptable, be willing to accept new strategies and the idea that maybe the way that you're doing things could be better, and that there's other resources and there's people out there that can help you on this journey, that you don't have to do it yourself. So reach out there and ask for advice and look for help from a lot of these people are going to be younger than you, and that's okay. Yeah.
And on the other flip side of that, do you have any advice particularly to younger individuals who are coming maybe straight out of college to medical school?
Ask a lot of questions about what's out there. I think at my age of 21 or so, I just didn't really know what was out there. And therefore, it's very easy to fall into a career. It's easy to fall into whatever mom and dad wants for you. And those are great things, and those can be really good things. But if you don't want it for yourself, something like medicine might not be the best place to accidentally fall into, because it is incredibly tough. Thank goodness we have people who are able to do this and can go into it and they love it. But if this isn't something to take lightly. So,
why do you say it's incredibly tough?
Well, a couple of different reasons. First off, you have the very obvious comparison to like PA, for example. PA has one of the highest rated job satisfaction careers in the U.S. year over year. They are paid, on average, new grad starting salary is automatically 6 figures. That's around the country. Sometimes they're making even more. Only 25% of PAs work over 40 hours, whereas I think the last figure I had seen was that only 25% of physicians work under 60 hours. Okay? Job satisfaction for physicians, it's horrible. Okay? All right? Not to mention the fact that if you're like me, you might have to take out $500,000 just to get through school. And that assumes that you finish school.
No guarantee for anything.
If you're like me and you're married and you have a child, you're going to have to constantly be battling. Well, if I'm with my family, I feel guilty about not studying. And if you're studying, you feel guilty about not being with your family. There's a constant struggle that's going on. There's direct conflict between many of the institutions that we have here in the U.S. and what is the accepted practice for doing well on STEP, which is third-party resources.
Yeah.
So you have to constantly battle, doing well in what your school thinks is important and what is going to be on STEP. So, and those things sometimes, thank goodness, they align. Sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
And that's really tough. So it's a huge balancing act going through med school. It's just not something that should be taken lightly. So if you can be a bit of an idealist and you can find a reason to really love what you're going into, and you can hold on to the things that make you passionate about medicine, that will take you so much further.
Yeah.
Than if you're doing this because mom and dad wanted you to.
Cannot be doing this for somebody else. You got to make sure intrinsically it's for you, because like you said, all of those factors are at play, and it can definitely weigh down on you. If you don't enjoy it, it's going to be a miserable ride.
Absolutely.
Do you have any other last advice that you want to give to someone out there who's listening in? They could be pre-med or already in medical school.
Any last advice? I guess just find your reason why. Just find your reason why. Find what gives you passion, whether that's medicine or otherwise, and then go after it. There, just about every field that you can go into, there is some version of that thing that you want to do that can make you money. So you might as well go after something that you really enjoy. For me, that is medicine, and I hope it can be for you too. But you really have to figure that out yourself.
Yep. I appreciate you so much, Shay, for coming on here today.
Of course.
This was fun. This was really good. I hope you all enjoyed this conversation that we had. Two buds just having a conversation about medicine, his journey into medicine. Remember, y'all, it's not a marathon nor a sprint, but it's a mission to medicine. Shay, where can people follow you?
Oh, that's easy. I'm not on social media. So don't look for me.
Okay.
That's okay.
All right, y'all. Peace out.